Entertalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. It is Friday. Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host, and a man who has been described as a joker, a smoker, and a midnight toker. With me is Paul, token quite a bit down at Entertalk Central in San Diego. How's it going, Paul?
Pretty good, pretty good. I can neither confirm nor deny the rumors of my toking and joking.
Of the toking and joking. Are you going to go see the Joker movie, which opens today?
I want to. It looks cool. I do occasionally a movie review podcast with a bunch of buddies, and like they kind of want to see it, but then one of them that kind of hates on everything. He's like, "It looks so stupid." I'm like, "Really? I thought it looked kind of cool." So
the Joker's an interesting character, right? Because for as long as he's been around, since the 1940s, he has no backstory. He has no definable backstory, so this movie is the first real attempt to kind of say, who is this nut?
That's true. I mean,
where did this nut come from? That kind of thing.
That's cool and that's interesting, but on the other hand, it's kind of maybe the fact that he doesn't have that's the mystery of the Joker, and maybe it wasn't really meant to be explained away. But it's cool. I saw the trailer. It looks like, it doesn't really look like a superhero movie. It looks like some kind of deep, dark, psychological thriller, Taxi Driver style. Yeah, I definitely want to see it. It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to see it too. I was talking to my wife about it, and she goes, I don't want to see that. She goes, it looks creepy. She goes, that Joaquin Phoenix. She goes, that Joaquin Phoenix dude. That dude's creepy, man. Yeah. I don't want to go see him. And I was like, yeah, he's creepy, but
he's great.
That's kind of what you want.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a Joker backstory, it's got to be creepy.
It's got to be creepy. The dude is nut, And so anyway, that I love that Warner Brothers had to do. By the way, they had to issue like a statement that said that we shouldn't. What was it? The way the BS they used in it was awesome. But they basically just said, this character is not a hero. You should not emulate the things that he does or the things that he thinks. We are not It was like, we're not celebrating the Joker as a hero. I was kind of laughing. I was like, where are we in society where you have to say that?
I don't know. Was there like people that started like boosting cars after playing Grand Theft Auto?
I guess. I mean, I don't even know. I was just laughing. Like the fact that Warner Brothers felt compelled to go, and this guy is not a good guy.
Gotta have your ass covered.
This is a villain. This is a story about a villain.
You got to be careful. He's just too charismatic.
Too charismatic. Oh, I'll let you know how it is next week after I see it.
All right, sounds good.
Well, cool. Well, who am I? What do I do? How do you reach me? That kind of fun stuff. So I'm Scott. I run a public relations and branding firm for companies that want to win at marketing called Robertson Communications. If you ever want to reach me and talk about the show, that kind of fun stuff, super easy to do. I'm at scott@robertsoncom2ms.com. Twitter @RobertsonCom, again, 2Ms like communications, and Facebook.com/RobertsonCom with 2Ms, just like communications. You guys are super, super smart because you have tuned into episode 136 of the program. And today we're going to be talking about a storm. There is a disruptive storm that's coming to California in January of 2020. And it's a big one. It is the brand spankin' new California Consumer Privacy Act. It goes into effect on January 1st. And organizations are going to learn very quickly that, to do business in California, the most litigious state of our lovely union, you're going to have to get IT, legal, and marketing in the same room to manage communications like you never have had to before. If you're in an organization and you don't like IT and legal, you got a big problem coming up, because it's not getting into compliance for the California Consumer Privacy Act is going to take that three-legged stool type of approach. It's not going to be just a marketing problem. It's not going to be just a legal problem. It's not just going to be an IT problem. It's an everybody problem that needs to be solved. If you do need to win over IT and legal, just one quick thing. I would recommend like the Krispy Kreme donuts, like the chocolate glazed with sprinkles. And just say, look, we got donuts. And then they'll follow you in for the donuts. And then you got them, you lock the door, and then you talk about this because it's going to be really important. Before the storm hits, so I'm going to go through this new law from a marketing perspective. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV or any of that. I've had several privacy attorneys on the show, and we've alluded to this kind of thing. But I'm going to talk about this from a marketing standpoint and kind of what you need to know. So, bring your poncho. It's going to get deep. And of course, we're going to dig into who's winning and losing on another action-packed episode here of May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk. So, again, just a few things that you should know about this new law. And if you're outside of California, you're probably like, well, I don't really need to know that because that doesn't really govern me. Well, just like when GDPR hit, in the UK, if you have a website that can be accessed by peoples from various places, then it affects you. Okay, that's the interesting thing about times that we kind of live in now, right? Is the fact that it does affect you. So the California Consumer Privacy Act becomes effective as of January 1st, 2020. Happy New Year! Yay! It's a bill that's meant to enhance privacy rights and consumer protection for residents of the state of California. You know it. You love it. You like to make fun of it. The bill was passed by the legislature and signed into law by Jerry Brown, actually, in 2018. Let's see. So the intentions of the act, and I think it's good that you need to know this, right? It's basically... The intentions are not such a bad thing, right? They want consumers to know what personal data is being collected about them. They want consumers to know whether their personal data is being sold or disclosed and to exactly whom. And by the way, you don't know that right now. Even if you think you do, you probably don't. 3, be able to say no to the sale of your personal data. Interesting. 4, have access to the personal data. And I got kind of that transparency and full disclosure. Number 5 is to request a business delete any personal information about you that was collected from you, which is that's when we get into IT, because we quickly get into the area of when you're talking about deleting information from a company's systems, that's no longer marketing. Now you're firmly into information technology management type of stuff. And then the last intention of the bill was to not be discriminated against for exercising privacy rights. So who does it apply to? Question that I've gotten a few times, for this. Basically, it applies to any business, any for-profit entity that collects consumers' personal data and does business in California, or with people who are from California. That's important to understand the difference between that. And satisfies at least one of the following thresholds. Has annual gross revenues in excess of $25 million. And all the companies with less than $25 million are like, yeah, high five, that's not us. Be careful. Because the other conditions are that if you possess the personal information of 50,000 or more consumers, if you have a database of information in your company anywhere and it's more than 50,000, welcome to the party. And then check this language out. This is interesting language here. 50,000 or more consumers, households, or devices. Okay? Or earns more than half of its annual revenue from selling consumers' personal information. Shame on you. Organizations are also required to implement and maintain reasonable security procedures and practices in protecting consumer data. And we could spend the rest of the show on the phrase reasonable security procedures and practices. And maybe I'll have an IT person come on here and hit us with all that later. There's a lot there, just so you know. So just as we're talking about kind of who this is going to affect, it basically will affect businesses that have gross revenue. Any business that makes more than $25 million a year is automatically in the club. But if you possess anywhere in your company the personal information of more than 50,000 people, or 50,000 people or 50,000 people by devices, right? You know how people have multiple devices and they feed you like the same information from other devices. That 50,000 counts against that as well, just so you know. So you got to be careful with the devices language, especially, or earn more than half of your revenue. So anyway, and then, I was trying to figure out where to go with this next. I think I want to talk about responsibility and accountability on this, right? So the law has kind of they require you, if you do business with people that are with minors and 13 years of age, there's already privacy, a lot of privacy protections for that group. No surprise here that this has a responsibility and accountability section that you need to attain parental or guardian consent for minors 13 and under, and affirmative consent for minors between 13 and 16 for data sharing purposes. This is new and especially interesting for apps that go after a younger crowd. You're going to have that parental and guardian consent is going to have to be a checkbox and be built into that stuff. They're also asking for and commanding, not really. The government doesn't really ask for things. They just say, you will do it or we will sue you into, the Stone Age with Fred Flintstone. So they say now you have the right to say no to the sale of personal information link on your homepage. This will direct users to a web page that enables them or someone they authorize to opt out of the sale of your personal resident information. So all those privacy notices that you get from people and privacy things, they say, we're changing our privacy policy, we're changing that. This law says that you need to have a right to say no to sale of my personal information link on the homepage of your website of your business. If you don't, they will fine your ass for it. That's what's coming, okay? It's really clear. They also say they will designate methods for submitting data access requests, including at a minimum, you have to have a toll-free number. So every business that's collecting information on behalf of the consumer is going to have a toll-free number that the consumer can call and say, I don't want you to do that anymore, or I want you to know I want to know what information you have on me. You're going to have this. If you don't, the most litigious state in the union has more lawyers than you can, shake a stick at, and they're going to be suing people on January 2nd of 2020. So you're going to need to update your privacy policies with newly required information, including a description of California residence rights. We always thought we were special, and now it's true. And you need to avoid requesting opt-in consent for 12 months after a California resident opts out. This is interesting, right? Because you ever get that before? You've opted out of something and then they feel like they can market to you, again and try to get you to, to opt back in. The 12-month restriction policy is something to pay attention to. If it can be proven that your organization, falls from the criteria of this and is doing some of these things, you're going to get sued. You're going to get fined. It's coming. It's coming. This is real. This is a very, very real thing that you need to figure out quick in your organization. So let's talk about some sanctions and remedies that are coming. The most interesting one is that a fine of up to $7,500 for each intentional violation and $2,500 for each unintentional violation is coming. So if you violate any of these things, you don't have a right to say no to personal information, you get complaints against you, you can be sued $7,500 for each violation. Lawyers are just they're licking their chops at this, folks, you know. And then I have to say, you know, I have to say that this law would never have come about if it wasn't for the uber creepy and ridiculously irresponsible behavior of marketing in most organizations. Okay? This is a reckoning. This is the reckoning that's coming. And believe me, it is the beginning of the reckoning, because what's coming next is all your friends in Washington, in Congress, the people who barely know where the on switch for a computer is, like they call their grandkids to ask how to turn on their phone. Those people are working on a piece of legislation that will cover the entire country. I know of at least 14 states that are working on their own California, you know, working on their own consumer privacy protection initiative. The early days of, you know, social media and Facebook and all these kind of things. I mean, up till now, it's been sort of the wild, wild west. Nobody really understood what they were doing. Hey, isn't that neat what they're doing? And those kind of things. But the government is catching up. The government is catching up. And they don't like the fact that, you know, they don't like the fact that Facebook collects all this information and sells it and does all these kind of things. And they probably don't like that they don't get a piece of it, to be, you know, just super transparent about it. But, you know, I leave you with this in talking about the act. None of it would have happened if marketing would have behaved more responsibly. Marketing is the root cause of this problem. People that are looking at technologically ways that they can do things instead of asking themselves, should we do this? Right? I talk about that a lot on this show. This is a fantastic example of regulation that's going to be slammed down the throat. It's going to hit so many businesses. It's not even funny. I mean, like I said, there's going to be so many lawsuits, you know, on this. It's going to, you know, it's going to be a huge market development, you know, exercise for the legal profession. Privacy attorneys are going to be very, very busy. I have a lot of friends that are privacy attorneys, and they're going to have a very good year coming up, I'm guessing. But it didn't have to happen. We can make better decisions than that. We can do better, you know, for the world, to be honest. Come on back, and we're going to talk about who's winning and losing this week. Thanks. Periscope.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, that guy he was talking about, your host. And we're talking about consumer privacy and the California Consumer Privacy Act on the show today. Paul, what do you think about the state of consumer privacy and kind of the things that California is planning to do to us in the new year?
That's frankly none of your business, and I don't have to tell you that.
Well said. Well said. It's like, I don't, do you remember on the show when they talked about when I had Lily Lee on, and she was talking about, or one of the privacy attorneys they had, and they were talking about how the law came about. Mm-hmm. And it was because of a cocktail party at Google.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I do remember that.
And the state senator who introduced the thing was at a cocktail party at Google, and a couple of the little millennials from Google basically said, "Oh man, you should see what kind of information we have on you." And it totally freaked him out. And he went and he created this entire California Consumer Privacy Act and this whole movement around just because he's scared of what information they have on him personally.
Yeah. It was probably just making a joke.
They're probably just making a joke.
But yeah, you gotta be careful who you're messing with there.
Be careful. Be careful of the.
That's totally something I would do too if I was working at Google. Like I tend to say dumb stuff like that all the time. It gets me in trouble.
You should see what we have on you. And then all of a sudden, California Consumer Privacy Act is going to cost Google tens of billions of dollars just for some idiot, caught, some idiot employee caught somebody at the bar and made a joke that he shouldn't have made.
Yep. And then I'm looking for a new job.
Then you're looking for a new job. Oh man, too funny. Well, let's dig into who's winning and losing. It's been it's a busy week. According to sources, marketers are wasting about 21% of their marketing budgets because of bad data and bad data quality. There's a story on Digital Commerce 360, came out today actually, on this. Let's see, data, high quality data is really important, right? It helped Amazon, garner a very much outsized share of the retail industry. But some of the like 21% of the, according to this study, 21% of the data is bad. Respondents of the survey basically estimate that 21 cents out of every media dollar they spent last year was wasted due to poor data quality. So that's 1.2 million to 16.5 million annual average loss for the mid-sized and enterprise companies that participated on the state or in the study. So, that's something that you got to know, right? I mean, that's something you got to know. Let's say that sometimes the data that we kind of build our house on, can be wrong, and thus we could be wasting money, especially if we're doing, more of the, digital marketing, pay-per-click advertising, type of things like that. That's all needs to be based on good data quality. Also, I feel compelled to mention at this point that, over half of purported internet traffic on most sites, on all sites actually, is fake. Is that, there's a lot of bots and a lot of data farms and people advertisers trying to artificially inflate numbers out and get, more kind of, fake profiles and fake clicks and I did a whole episode on all the fakery that's going on out there, but just be careful with that. We're gonna put that whole story in the losing category, and certainly a word of caution for anybody that's that is using data to make those decisions, to make sure you know where it's coming from and, feel comfortable in it. You know who's winning is Tide. Tide has had some really interesting ads. Their laundry night campaign has been really, really fascinating to me. It's really kind of helmed by Peyton Manning. Saatchi & Saatchi New York did it, basically saying that America's official laundry night should be moved to Tuesday because Sunday should be for the NFL, not for laundry. I thought that was really clever. And then they had, just like Tide likes to do, right? They, have another ad that comes up and says, well, we can't have it on Tuesday because the voice is going to be, we got to do it, move it back to Sunday. And of course, do this whole thing while everybody's arguing about what night laundry night should be. The brilliant thing about it is Tide's like, we'll be there no matter what night you decide it is, right? So that they really can't lose. But the latest one that they did was really, really cool. They did a spot with they tied into the Bud Light campaign that's going on right now with the Platinum Bud Night, right? And basically the Bud Night is prepared, is in a Tide ad and that kind of thing. And Tide has been known to do that for the last few years. When they were doing it looks like you're looking for an ad for something else. It's actually an ad for Tide. That's kind of one of their little surprising kind of ad tricks. But this whole campaign is really strong. I have to say, what makes it strong is the message is really strong. The message is strong. That's like, hey, to me, it's genius. It's like, you keep talking about all the, Tide doesn't care when you do the laundry. They care that you use Tide. They care you use Tide no matter what you think. But then they can create this sort of controversy about laundry night and something that people can, say, and it's just extremely clever, extremely good message. And just when you think they've run out of things to say about laundry detergent, which you figure, you'd run out of things to say after some point, huge win, for the ad business, and huge win for Saatchi & Saatchi and being able to kind of do that. And I love this campaign. I love, I will not fast forward through their ads because I think that they're funny and extremely well done. The Peyton Manning one for the NFL was really funny. It was really well done. So anyway, Tide's winning. Tide's all winning. And I talked about Burger King and McDonald's last week on the show. Burger King doing the day without the Whopper kind of thing. There's an article in Marketing Week this week that talks about marketers. A lot of marketers praise Burger King for some of the clever things that they do, but McDonald's has kind of quietly, continues to just be the 800-pound gorilla in that entire space, right? And it really digs into kind of flashy versus effective. But there's and I encourage you to read the entire article. But basically, the gist of the article is that McDonald's is better at marketing than Burger King, right? They have a greater impact on their customers with their marketing, and while Burger King kind of does more kind of flashy things and more little stunt-esque kind of things, McDonald's flat out just does better as a business. Flat out does better as a business, and flat out does better as a brand, and flat out does better at marketing. And if you look at the sales growth, the sales growth chart, really impressive. You should check out the same store sales growth chart between Burger King and McDonald's. It is not even close at how much better performing McDonald's is than Burger King. And, so it's, we got to put McDonald's in the winning category for that win this week, definitely, because they're really, kind of more quietly and kind of in a subtle way. They just win, right? They just know how to win. So gotta like that. Green Day is going to partner with the NHL, the National Hockey League, for its TV theme song, and it's also going to do a performance at the NHL All-Star Game, I guess. They announced a massive promotional and marketing partnership with the NHL for the for this season and for next season. The band will unveil a new track called Fire Ready Aim as the opening theme song for NBC's Wednesday Night Hockey, and they will perform a headlining set at the All-Star Game coming up. Good for Green Day. I mean, fantastic band, incredibly talented. They, frontman Billy Joe Armstrong had been ill for a while, and they had to cancel some tour dates and that kind of thing. So it's cool to see that they're, back and signing this big deal with NHL hockey. I think, you can see it. Green Day's music's got high energy. It's very much like hockey. It's pretty violent, like hockey is. So I think it's a kind of a brand match made in heaven. I think both of them are winning because of that partnership. That's very interesting. So winning. Green Day. Let's talk about WeWork. WeWork, their parent company, the We Company, on Monday, they are now withdrawing their initial public offering a week after the SoftBank-backed office sharing setup ousted its founder, Adam Neumann, as its chief executive officer. So they're pulling out of their IPO. For a while, these guys were a pretty big darling, right? There's, opening up WeWork, cohabitation, places for startups and small businesses and that kind of thing. And they had the, free breakfasts and lunch and all these kind of things. But, this is an important thing to understand. A stock has got to make money, and a company can't, when you go for an IPO, you have to kind of disclose and reveal all of your books. And investors, as excited as they are to see WeWork on the side of all these buildings and in all these various markets, are also kind of like, wait, this company's over leveraged, and we just don't think that kind of messaging alone is gonna. And they have new competitors coming in. They're trying to do kind of the exact same thing. So anyway, they're all kinds of losing this week. I think also WeWork, they kind of got off their own message a bit too, just from looking at some of their statements they were making, and they just kind of sounded desperate, and I guess that's kind of they kind of need to do a little bit of financial turnaround and things like that before they try to convince a bunch of people to do an initial public offering, with them. So WeWork is not going to go public anytime soon. So bye-bye. New York City is kind of interesting. They, I was just in New York for an event. It was pretty fun, but New York City has now threatened up to $200,000 in fines for people using terms like illegal alien or threatening to call ICE, to deport illegal aliens. This is an interesting story, right? New York City's Commission on Human Rights announced recently that residents, the people, could face up to $250,000 in fines if they use such terms as illegal alien with intent to demean, humiliate, or harass a person. Hate has no place here, blah, 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 and threatening to call ICE when motivated by discrimination or derogatory term of illegal alien is unlawful discriminatory treatment of New York human rights law, blah, blah, blah. That is the term. I mean, just so we're all on the same page, the law, the Naturalization Act, that we still use, from written in the 1960s and amended in the 1990s, which I've read, by the way. It's a page turner. It's fantastic legal language in there. Lovely. But the term for someone who's in this country illegally is illegal alien. And then somewhere along the line, people decided to kind of change it and say, well, let's make it like undocumented citizens. And this is the same kind of marketing BS that nobody believes. This is the reason that I pointed out is language is really, really important, right? and the specific words that you use, in this case, a city basically saying you can't use the actual term that's in the law is interesting at the least, and incredibly stupid. I mean, all it's going to take is somebody to pull up the Naturalization Act and go, I'm sorry, that is the term that we use. Why are we still here? Why are we in this room together? And it's dumb. It's dumb. And I think it's dangerous, right? Just basically, you could be fined up to $250,000 for using the term that is in the law is really dumb. And those kind of things. But, I don't know. So I pointed out there just to say that, you can try to kind of change language over time or whatever, but the place that you want to change it, where this Human Rights Commission should go to work, is they should change the language in the act, in the law, because the law determines what you call people legally. I'm not a lawyer again, but I've seen Law and Order a few times. I'm just saying. So anyway, weird story. New York City's losing. Weather was really nice when I was there. I got to say that. And my last story, I just wanted to talk about. So Amazon, apparently, users don't trust Alexa anymore. I can't imagine why that would be. It probably comes from the fact that it's been revealed that they have rooms full of employees writing down every word that you're saying in your house, and people are starting to become disenfranchised with the idea of putting a bug in their home that feeds into an office of Amazon employees. But Amazon has decided to bolster its privacy, and it's basically saying, we care about this. So we are going to give consumers more control over Alexa privacy settings. We can auto-delete recordings, prevent Alexa from turning on at unintended times, and more privacy controls for Ring home security cameras. So kind of interesting. There's definitely a privacy problem. There's definitely an issue. And I think Amazon is probably winning this week by addressing the privacy issues. You certainly can't. They just announced a whole bunch of new products, and everybody said, well, I'm not putting that in my house. Those people are corrupt bastards. I'm not going to have them listening to my calls and that kind of stuff, which, obviously that's true. But we got to put Amazon in winning this week at least, because at least they're addressing the problem. And you are still listening to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can deal with the California Consumer Privacy Act. See you in a few.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. You are smart. You are listening to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am still Scott, your host. We just talked about a whole bunch of winners and losers this week. We ended off with Amazon. We got Paul B. Back in the studio, and I understand you have an Alexa story. Go on with you, Paul.
Yeah, just from this week. We had a rehearsal with my band, and one of the songs we were working on is the theme from Shaft.
Nice.
And it was at the percussionist's house, and he had the Alexa, and he's like, we kind of had to listen to it. He's like, Alexa, play theme from Shaft. So we're like listening to it, and there's a part in Shaft where it's like, oh, that Shafty's a bad mother, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So just to as a joke, just to mess with it, I go, Alexa, shut your mouth. And it stops playing the song, and everyone had a laugh. It was cute. And then we're like, all right, Alexa, play theme from Shaft. Playing theme from Shaft by Incubus. I'm like, no. Alexa, play theme from Shaft by Isaac Hayes. Playing Shaft by the Maharishi Orchestra. Alexa, shut up. Play the theme from Shaft, the movie Shaft by Isaac Hayes. Playing blah, blah, blah. And she was like literally messing with us for 10 minutes. What started out as just like a cute joke, like wasted 10 minutes of rehearsal. And I swear she was doing it on purpose.
Oh, yeah. She was doing it on purpose. Absolutely.
Hurt her artificial feelings.
Because you told her to shut her mouth.
Yep.
You said, Alexa, shut your mouth.
She doesn't understand humor or sarcasm yet.
Mm-hmm. Wait till she has hands and lasers.
Who needs hands when you have lasers?
Wait till she has hands and claws and lasers. You think she's a bitch now. Get ready.
Oh, boy.
Get ready. Every year when I go to CES, by the way, I see the humanoid robots, and they get like a little bit more like humanoid looking.
What CES do you go to?
Yeah. They have eyes that open and blink, and they have like they turn their heads and stuff, and it looks like my worst nightmare because I have an unnatural fear of puppets, and so it's true. Anybody who knows me knows I don't like puppets, and so these crazy ass humanoid androids look like puppets that can like.
That's your worst nightmare. That are possessed.
It's my worst nightmare. I'm like, I do not want these stupid things floating around my house.
You're in for a rough couple of decades, my friend.
I am.
It's only going to get worse.
I'm going to have to get over my puppet anxiety, puppet phobia.
Yeah.
Puppetophobia. Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing your Alexa story. I appreciate it. So all this show, we've been talking about privacy. We were talking about the California Consumer Privacy Act and all the stuff that's going on. The fact that there's a $7,500 fine for each intentional violation, $2,500 for each unintentional violation of the law, which goes into effect on January 1st, 2020. It's coming. It'll be here soon. So I want to give you some tips. My first tip is don't be creepy. Don't, and this is good, just aside from, if you know the way that I practice marketing, I am not a fan of interrupting people. I'm not a fan of collecting people's personal data. I'm not a fan of sending people stuff that they don't want. And not for any legal reasons, but just for the human reasons of we want them to like us, and sending people stuff they don't like pisses them off. And that is sort of an anti-marketing objective, right? If the objective is to build and sustain fantastic relationships with our customers, then intentionally pissing them off by doing creepy things would be the exact opposite of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. In fact, doing nothing, literally just coming to work and sitting there and staring at the screen for 8 hours, would have a superior outcome to doing that, to doing things that people don't want to have done. There you go. So, and I say this a lot. This is a recurring theme with me. But marketing is we've gotten far too creepy. We've gotten in this day and age where we're like, well, we have to have data and we have to have data. No, you don't. What you have to have are fantastic products, great stories, understanding people, making your message about them. Those are the things that you need to have, right? You don't need to have data on on all of your customers. Here's why. And I know that Google will send you out a thing and says, well, we need to understand every aspect of the customer journey. No, you don't. They don't want you to understand every aspect of the customer journey because we have this American thing that we push back when people get too close, right? If you get too close and you don't have the right relationship, we're gonna push you back, right? You can't have that, right? But marketers haven't gotten it through their thick heads yet that collecting all this data on the audience is not always a good thing. It's going to be an extraordinarily bad freaking thing coming up because of this law. But aside from that, you shouldn't have done it anyway because of the relationship thing, the creepy thing, right? So number one, don't be creepy. If it looks like you're being creepy, back off. Figure out ways to not be creepy, right? And needy. Don't be needy. Don't send multiple emails per day. No human being wants to hear from you multiple times a day. I don't even hear from my wife multiple times a day. I sure as hell don't want to hear about athletic shoes multiple times a day. And musician's friend, man, you guys need to figure your shit out because you continue to send me multiple emails all the time. It's like I'm shopping at Sweetwater now. They don't send me multiple emails. You're going to be losing customers right and left because of your neediness, your creepiness. Stop it. Stop it. Number two, learn how to attract your audience without interrupting everyone else to get there. Okay? This is a cornerstone of my marketing practice, and I want it written on my tombstone that I was about attracting people to my clients without interrupting them, right? To me, a magnet works much better than a funnel because a funnel, there's people going, nobody cares about the people at the top, right? But a magnet, you don't have to disturb all that. You can just pull people out of the population to you. Now, how you do that? You got to be great. Your content has to be great for them. All of that, the rules that we kind of talk about. But learn how to be an attraction-based marketer. If you're an attraction-based marketer, do you know how many lawsuits you're going to get on the California Consumer Privacy Act? Zero. Because you're going to have all, perfect opt-ins. You're going to have you're not going to be doing anything creepy. You're not going to, have information on people that you shouldn't have. You're not going to, people aren't going to be asking to be removed from your, your list because you're behaving responsibly, those kind of things. You're not going to have any legal problems. The reason marketing has legal problems is because they can't control themselves, right? They must be controlled by someone else. Telemarketers, don't even get me started. Tip number 3. Remember the importance of brand messaging. The foundation of everything we do is the story, is the message. I run into so many companies that have no idea what their message is. It's confusing, it's completely unclear, but they've spent tons and tons of money on Google ads. They spent tons of money on, they don't mind just bugging the hell out of everybody, but they don't spend any time thinking about what they want to say. Right? So that's stupid. That's stupid, wasteful, and stop it. You've got to focus on the message. I don't know what this incredible, sense of urgency is to get a message out there before you actually design the message for the audience. I mean, it's nuts. I see it all the time. One company ran to me this week and they said, what do you think of our new logo? And I said, what's logo based on? I said, what emotion are you trying to go for the brand? Simple question, baby. That's 101 right there. And they looked at me with like a puzzled look and said, well, what do you mean? What emotion the brand is? I was like, yeah, the cornerstone of the brand. What would you say that is? Do you got words that describe that, or is it just a pretty picture now? Words come first. Always. They always come first. If you're a designer out there and you're designing logos and the client doesn't have a message, stop. Get messaging right first. It's going to make the design so much better. So much better. You're not just going to get lucky and stumble onto the right brand messaging. It's a process. You must work on this stuff like a process. It's really, really, really important to do it. And not enough people do it. That's why there's so many bad websites. That's why there's so many stupid logos. Why there's so many businesses whose message doesn't make any sense to the consumer. It's wrong. Got to fix it. Tip number 4, PR provides fantastic visibility for messaging and zero privacy concerns. One of the greatest things people ask me, somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, they said, why do you like PR so much? And I said, you know why? Because it has zero privacy concerns. Zero. The media outlet takes all responsibility for communicating the message out. They're the messenger. You're just riding along for the ride, right? And they draw people to their media outlets, for information about products products and services and things that they might want to buy and how they want to, kind of extend their customer journey or what have you. PR is the great leveler of the Wild Wild West has been going on forever. The California Consumer Privacy Act is coming in as the new sheriff in town, right? But your saving grace, ladies and gentlemen, within the sound of my voice, your saving grace is public relations. Public relations is a way to get your message out without invoking any of the nastiness that's coming your way with the California, Consumer Privacy Act that's coming. All right. It's awesome. And I don't just say that because I do it for a living, because I do other things too. Sometimes I do advertising, and sometimes I consult on, other digital marketing. And sometimes we, do things, that are just around brand messaging and but PR, bringing in trusted third parties to, voice your message for you has no privacy concerns attached to it. Zero. And it is the only thing in the marketing spectrum that you could do without any fear at all about getting into some hot water with privacy. And like I said, just because you don't make $25 million worth of revenue, don't think that you're in the clear from the relationship side of things of privacy. Forget the legal things. You got legal compliance, but you also have relationship compliance, right? You do stuff too. The very first button on your phone, when you get a bulk email, it says unsubscribe, and it says, "Would you like?" And it's like Apple and Samsung are just like, it's like, "Would you like me to unsubscribe from these people forever? Would you? It's like they're ready for you to unsubscribe to everything. It's the first button at the top of the screen, right? I always tell that to my clients that are sending emails. I say, make it worth it. Don't you dare send something out that is crap, because they could unsubscribe to you very, very quickly. Very quickly, so make sure that you know that. And my last tip is something I talk about a lot, empathy. Empathy solves most privacy problems, okay? One of the reasons that this law is out here is because one of the reasons this law is coming on the books and and public opinion is so, on the side of the law on this, is the fact that marketers have behaved for so long without any empathy for who they're inflicting their message upon. This is bad. This is wrong. This should not have happened. You have too many companies out there who need to be taught a lesson. And the lesson is coming. Just so you know, it's coming. They passed this law to go after Facebook. They passed this law to go after Google. That is the plan. That's what's coming, is that all of these digital marketing empires that have been built up on a foundation of consumer data are about to pay a lot of money to the California state government, and everybody that's close to them, close to their business model and everything else, they're going to be next. They're absolutely going to be next. But all of these things, can be handled with empathy. All you have to do is say, man, would I like to have 8 emails sent to me a day about, from a music company about guitar strings and various deals that I might have? Would I like to have 8 of those a day? 8. That's how many I'd like to get on a daily basis. Just a little bit of putting yourself where the audience is. To me, if you start with empathy, you're always going to try to create something great, because you're going to be like, look, if this had to penetrate my inbox, if it had to penetrate my, selection process for what is good data and good content and those kind of things, would it be able to? And if you can't honestly answer yes to that, then you should worry. And you should say, look, then this probably isn't good enough to be sent out. And there's not enough companies doing that. And marketing automation just exacerbates the problem. Basically, they put machines in charge, and machines say, well, we should send this message because it's going to get greater conversions. But they don't measure how many people they're pissing off in the meantime. They don't measure how many people are unsubscribing, how many people are opting out, and those kind of things. It's all about sales, right? No empathy, those kind of things. So those are my privacy tips for nosy marketers. Hope you got something out of that. So what have we learned today, folks? We know the storm is coming. First to California and then to the rest of the United States, courtesy of other states, and finally Congress. That one's coming too. And we know that ensuring privacy isn't just marketing's job, but we are probably the cause of like 90% of the violations. So it makes sense that we could be the solution too. It makes a lot of sense. We don't have to be this awful thing that it has to be regulated by the government. Marketing can be better than this. We must be better. That's it from me, folks. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week for a fresh show. Take it easy. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Entertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?